A truly empowered life is one that is always growing, always pursuing a deeper understanding of the world. It's all part of the journey toward betterment for your students, in your career, and of course, in your life. Yes, you could always choose to stay where you're at, but then you will never have the benefit of knowing how far you could have gone. The foundational principle of knowledge is what keeps the empowered teacher ever improving.
The bottlenose dolphin is perhaps the most well-adapted mammal in the animal kingdom. Of all species on Earth, dolphins rank second in terms of cognitive capacity. Only humans rank higher. These creatures have developed thousands of survival skills and adaptations because of one major advantage: their ability to communicate. Dolphins seek out the best information and then huddle together with their pod to pass the information on. From migratory patterns to locations of predators and even the best spots for food, every dolphin shares helpful knowledge for the betterment of all. This endless pursuit of knowledge, combined with the selfless sharing of it, keeps the entire species thriving.
Knowledge is what gives us the power to make wise choices. What does it mean to apply this principle in the classroom, in our career, or even in our communities? Well, let's begin with the classroom.
As you walk into a elementary classroom and you see a teacher at the front of the class and they're leading their students through a lesson, and they'll ask a question and you'll see 5 or 6 or 7 hands raised, and probably all in the kindergarten class. But as they get older, the number of hands up starts to diminish. We asked our educators to become better at probing, ask the right questions, digging a little deeper, not coming with the answers, but challenging those students to go out and discover those, and then develop the knowledge and the skills around those questions that they have. And how does it apply to the world that they're currently living in, or the world that they're going to want to live in? What is important to them?
The typical student experience is probably one of rote memorization, knowing that there is likely a test or assessment at the end of this finite period of time. That may help them establish some base knowledge, but it doesn't ever help them apply it in a meaningful way. So in the empowered classroom, students are sharing knowledge with each other. And this is something else that's also different from probably a typical classroom experience. Is students feel like, I need to know the knowledge, and the knowledge is only for me because it's only my outcome that matters. I'm not necessarily trained to think about how can I help my peer, my classmate, learn the knowledge too. But there's such power in recognizing that I can build up the knowledge of other people around me. And so through these activities and these lessons, this is a part that we focus on a lot, is knowledge sharing. And each of us has unique knowledge, and it's counterproductive for me to keep it to myself, because then it doesn't benefit anyone besides my own individual self to a certain degree. But when I share knowledge together and we're all sharing knowledge, we all create an outcome together that is much more powerful and much more robust.
Students come in thinking, well, I'm smart, I'm dumb. Like literally, especially at the high school level and even middle school. Kids at that age, by the time they're 6th graders, they are smart or they are dumb. Or I'm good at this, but I'm not good at this. I think that grades serve a purpose. I do think there's a purpose for them, and I think there's a purpose for that kind of knowledge. But I think we put too much pressure on that, and I think we're seeing kids fall behind because they don't understand that there's different knowledge, and that's what's cool about like Disruptus and empowered activities like that, because kids can see this creative side that they have.
For students who, when we're asking them to seek knowledge, you're looking at what kind of sources are you using? And while social media has a lot of memes that are just inaccurate, we have some activities where we literally go on meme hunts. Like, hey, I want you to find a meme that supports your position that's absolutely wrong. And we can all find them. And it's like, but it's absolutely wrong, and we know it's wrong. But then really looking at, if you want knowledge, go to the source. So if it's about historical events, let's go ahead and find some primary sources. Have they been vetted? Let's put the time in to actually go through these sources. And one activity that we do is that we look at just one sentence of an article. And then we go through the process of trying to find sources to corroborate that one sentence to determine whether or not it's factual or not. And at the end of that, we go, how long do we spend on this process? Like 30 minutes. So we spent 30 minutes trying to determine whether this one sentence was accurate or not, correct? Yes. So in the future, if you read something, are we going to take 15 seconds to say that's true or not? Or are we going to put the time in? And obviously I don't want students taking 30 minutes on one sentence, but it just shows them that when you're truly invested in knowledge seeking and you're really trying to get to a truth or to an answer, you must put the time in.
Albert Einstein once said, "The pursuit of knowledge is more valuable than its possession."
Einstein understood that it's not knowledge itself that is the goal, but rather the benefits that are found in its endless pursuit.
This is what unites writers, explorers, philosophers, scientists, and leaders in all fields.
At Empowered, we define the principle of knowledge like this: seek and use the best knowledge, drive change that benefits others, and exemplify humility and intellectual honesty. As teachers, we have the power to bring knowledge into our communities. In doing so, we create empathy across cultural divides.
When you learn new things, it carves new pathways in your brain. It helps you make connections amongst things that you didn't think were connected. It is this experience of being a lifelong learner. That's what we want everyone to experience. That's what helps you create a meaningful life, is when you're constantly seeking things to develop who you are, so that you can reach your full potential. And a huge part of that is being this learner who is seeking new information, who is connecting with people from different backgrounds so that they can learn about how they see the world. And all of this together shapes each of our experiences.
As a student, when seeking the best knowledge, you can impact the communities where you live because you have next steps. We often tell students that if you don't have the right knowledge, you don't have the right action steps, because you're now trying to create change on something that may not be the key lever. And if that's not the key lever, then the community will stay exactly the same. But if you're actually seeking the right knowledge, you have found knowledge that helps a certain community or for a certain problem within your community, now you can start to collaborate with peers, other people within that community, whether it's local businesses, whether it's the local law enforcement. And now you can start to put things in place like action steps. Action research fundamentally starts with seeking knowledge.
And what Henry Ford had foreseen happened. Mass production and the assembly line drove the price of the Model T down from $800.
Knowledge is one of the key indicators to getting to innovation. Hey, I can't hoard it. If I think about how far we've come in the automotive industry, if one man, Henry Ford, would have kept all of that knowledge, we'd still be driving the same cars. There would have been no innovation to that market. Now you look and you have fuel cars, we have hybrid cars, we have solar cars, but that's all because we're seeking and sharing knowledge constantly, driving us towards innovation. We're allowing the best ideas without consequence to come to the surface because we have toleration, we have respect, we have all of these other principles that holistically work together that elevate knowledge. And knowledge is important because it allows that bridge between generations, between innovations, and between deep conversations within an empowered classroom.
It was Aristotle who said, "The more you learn, the more you realize you don't know." This realization humbly pushes you to new heights in your career.
Just like the dolphin's constant pursuit of information keeps the species thriving, you too must always be learning, discovering, and sharing.
Never grow tired of asking questions or adjusting to the truth.
While many will remain trapped in old ideas, the empowered teacher will lead the way into fresh revelation.